I grew up in Pittsburgh, so most of my content is focused on western Pennsylvania. Steel mills, river towns, old cemeteries, industrial accidents, forgotten laws. That landscape shaped the kinds of stories I'm drawn to. Now I live in eastern North Carolina, and over time I started noticing something. Stories here feel different. The reason we tell them feels the same. In Pittsburgh, folklore is often tied to industry and infrastructure. You hear about abandoned hospitals, closed steel mills, bridges where something lingers, tunnels with strange histories. Even the darker historical stories like body snatching or poor farms are connected to systems, factories, institutions, churches, railroads. The fear in those stories feels mechanical. It's tied to labor, collapse, machinery, and sudden tragedy. Pittsburgh grew through industry. It lost people through industry. That leaves a mark. Even the ghost stories feel like they're shaped by smoke, steel, and hard work. When I started looking into local lore in eastern North Carolina, I noticed a different tone. The stories here are often tied to land and weather, swamps, rivers, long rural roads, old farmhouses, Civil War sites, hurricanes that change towns overnight. Instead of abandoned factories, you hear about isolated houses. Instead of tunnel legends, you hear about stretches of highway or wooded paths where something does not feel right. The danger in these stories feels natural. Flooding, storms, isolation, darkness that comes from distance rather than machinery. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized something important. The setting changes, the themes don't. Both regions carry stories about loss, about warning, about things that happened and were never fully explained. Both use folklore as a way to process tragedy and pass down memory. In Pittsburgh, the stories reflect a city built on steel and sacrifice. In eastern North Carolina, the stories reflect communities shaped by land, war, and weather. Different environments. Same human instinct. We tell stories to make sense of what scares us. We tell stories to remember the people who came before us. And we tell stories to give shape to the things that feel unfinished. I will always consider Pittsburgh home. That history will always influence the stories I tell. But living in a different region has made me more aware of how place shapes folklore. Steel towns have one kind of shadow. Coastal towns and rural communities have another. Neither is better. They are just different expressions of the same need to explain what lingers. So I'm not leaving Pittsburgh behind. But I am starting to explore what it means to live in a different kind of haunted landscape. If you are from western Pennsylvania or eastern North Carolina, I would love to know what stories you grew up hearing, what legends shaped your sense of place. Because no matter where you live, every region carries its own version of the darkness. And folklore is how people learn to live with it.